Our next question is going to be a longtime San Pedro business owner, James Brown.
JB.
Okay, good afternoon. It's becoming increasingly more challenging to run a small business here in the city of Los Angeles. The minimum wage is due for another increase to $16.04 this July, which is a good thing, but a lot of people don't know that that affects workers' comp and payroll taxes. A lot of small business owners like myself are struggling with these ongoing increases in every part of our operations. What, if any, type of relief or assistance could you offer as mayor to help us stay afloat, and in my instance of my 49 staff members, keep them all employed?
Okay, thank you, James. Okay, we are going to start with Councilmember Joe Buscaino.
Well, the best fries in Los Angeles are the Gaffey Street Fives, so make sure you go visit JB down at Baruco after this. JB, you know, when I first was elected, I heard loud and clear from the businesses in my district. We got rid of many of the parking meters. We lowered parking meter costs in San Pedro. I have been a friend of businesses here throughout my last 10 years, but I can only do so much as a council member. I feel that we are down here in an island. We have more business-friendly cities. A business does not have to pay gross receipts tax or lower gross receipts tax if you're in Carson, Torrance, Lomita, Long Beach, RPV, and we lose a competitive edge. My plan as mayor is to either phase out or get rid of the gross receipts tax, because I know it's a hindrance on small businesses. Our small businesses are the backbone of our local economy. I get it, and I've been responsive. Just look what happened during the COVID. I knew that we had to expand our outdoor, expand the footprint of our local restaurants. We had a proven model that's now going citywide is our outdoor dining platforms. That was a lifeline to our businesses here in San Pedro. We're now actually moving on Avalon in Wilmington and now going citywide. We also need to have a business source center that is focused on customer service. See, business owners run businesses. They don't have time to go to a business source center, fill out a bunch of papers, and check a bunch of boxes. My plan as mayor is to bring the business source center and put it on wheels and go to the businesses that need the most help. We also found that these microloans that are non-forgivable during COVID have been very useful. In fact, just up the street at Weymouth Corners, one business, I was just told by Gabby, one business is taking advantage of the microloan, the forgivable microloans, and as mayor, I will expand that.
Thank you, council member. Okay, we're going to go to Congressmember Bass.
Thank you very much for your question. I also agree, small businesses are the backbone of our economy, and we need to do everything we can to make sure that your business flourishes and your business can expand if you want it to. So one of the things that I hope to do is to put small businesses at the center of my administration by creating a council so that people can have direct access to the mayor's office and we can know firsthand what is going on. I want to convene a group of financial institutions to see if they would put together a fund that small businesses could access. And I also learned that the mayor's office currently, in past administrations maybe, but currently does not have an office that just focuses on bringing resources to Los Angeles. A development department, people full-time in the office, the only thing they do is look for dollars, and I would absolutely prioritize looking for dollars that would assist small businesses. There needs to be easy access to the Small Business Administration. They do have a lot of resources, but they're difficult to get to, difficult to navigate. And that I will make sure in my office that there will be specific navigators that could help you manage to get through to get the resources that you need. But first and foremost, though, it would be important to do an assessment to see how small businesses are faring because of COVID. We passed billions of dollars that was supposed to come throughout the country, millions coming to Los Angeles, but I have certainly heard all through the city that businesses have had difficulty accessing those resources. So no, from me, I consider it a top priority. Again, income inequality is one of the most significant issues in our city, And the way to address income inequality is for people to have good jobs, and that starts with small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressmember. City Attorney Mike Fuhrer, you're next.
Thank you, James. And thanks for being a job creator, which is what we need more of. That's what small business is in our city, right? The huge majority of our jobs come from you. So as a city council member, I wrote the first legislation to eliminate business tax for a small business citing LA for the first time. As mayor, I'm going to lead the effort to phase out the business tax. When I was a state legislator, I was asked to co-lead an effort in the teeth of the Great Recession to get access to capital for small business owners. As mayor, I'm going to create a deputy mayor whose only job is small business, to focus on being a one-stop source of information to small business, to focus on access to capital, and to focus on making sure the rules were clear. James, in the teeth of the pandemic, I held a series of virtual town halls with small business owners. I wish I'd had you be part of that. I heard in each of those conversations the same thing. I asked, what do you need most from the city? And every time somebody said, you're the first person to ask. And then they went through the list. We need clarity and consistency. We need to be hooked up with other small business owners who have jobs, run programs like mine, so I can learn from them as to how to do better and access to capital and so on. So I'm going to be leading that effort. Next, we need to have an economic development and job creation team, a cabinet that's going throughout Los Angeles, identifying the most important economic strategies for the future. I'm going to have that in place as well. And I want to talk for a second about the green economy, too, in a way that goes beyond your question a little bit, James. I've been very specific about the things you've asked about. But also, I'm going to hold a green economy summit that focuses on connecting not only businesses to the future of our city, which is going to be in many ways directed toward that green economy, but also hooking us up with federal resources that ought to be connecting us and helping us lift up our small business community when it comes to the green economy, and creating jobs for people in underserved communities.
Thank you so
All
much.
these things. Thank you, James, very much.
Thank you much, JB. Let me underscore and emphasize, highlight, italicize, bold, if you will, how important you are, because you are a lifeline to the city of LA. This is the reason why. The federal government has a printing press. It's in the basement of the Treasury, so they can print money all they want and run ongoing debts. The state of California, which 3 of us were part of the California State Legislature, we have the ability to do capital gains taxes, PIT, personal income tax. That's why in the state of California, you have ongoing surplus dollars right now, even during the height of the global pandemic. At a local government level, small businesses, such as the one that you lead, hotels, and property taxes. These are the 3 main pillars of stream of revenue into the general fund at City Hall that funds the city as we move forward. 2 of those pillars were eviscerated: small businesses and hotels, tax receipts, because hotels were shut down, there was no tourism, there was no business travel. Restaurants were closed down because of an edict from LA County Public Health Department because of the COVID-19. So 2 out of 3 were completely eviscerated. That's why we have to change the culture that's within the City Hall, where somehow, some way, it goes out of its way to make life harder for you and small business throughout the city. That's why it's about economic security, because if you do well, if you expand your payroll as a result, then we do well as a city. If you don't do well as a city, then guess what? We're not going to do well. And that's when we're starting negotiating cutbacks and layoffs and so forth, or services and programs, parks, maintenance, sanitation, and so forth. That's why we had to make sure that you are absolutely successful. And that does actually start with changing the culture. Karen just mentioned a few moments ago, simple things like loans from, low interest loans from SBA. They go out of the way to make it much more cumbersome and much more difficult to just interpret what you have to submit right there. So we'll make it much better for you as well as other small businesses throughout the city of LA.
Thank you.
Thank you, JB.
Thank you, James.